Welcome, caviar connoisseurs, to this week's episode of Sports Caviar. We really did miss you all last week, but hope you enjoyed the holiday season. On this week's episode, we will be discussing the NFL playoff scenarios, including which teams can win their division and also lose out on their playoff spot altogether. The stage has been set for the college football championship, and in the NBA, there were some surprising stats that we discovered. We will be putting our very own Burn Nasty and Bijan to the test on their NBA knowledge. And finally, we'll be predicting who will win and lose in this weekend's slate of football games. Before we really start, though, I have a little bit of beef with Burn Nasty, and I didn't tell him this, but
We already started the
invited
year.
me.
2 days into the year, we got beef already.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Estimates
Well,
just ended.
he invited me out Saturday night to hang out, and I made special arrangements to get dropped off to where he was located and stuff. He hangs out for about an hour, and before I know it, Burn's gone. And I'm just like, where did he go? And I'm texting him like, Burn, did you leave? What happened? Did you not say? How come you didn't say bye if you left? And then 2 hours later, he texts everybody saying, "Hey, I'm at home. I'll talk to you guys later."
Oh,
I think you owe me and all the rest of the connoisseurs that were hanging out that night an apology, Burn.
No, I'm very sorry that I left you hanging with your group of friends and left you in good hands. That was a long day of football, long day of some tough losses, and decided to make a switch at the end and switch over to some tequila. And at some point, you just need to be home, and it was time. I did send out some texts to make sure people were aware. Whether you got them or understood them, that's not on me. But to our fellow connoisseurs, I'm definitely apologize to you guys for leaving our boy hanging for a little bit. You got home just fine,
What's up with
and
the
all was well.
Irish exit though? How come you just didn't say, "Hey, hi,
Is it an
thanks for
Irish
coming out,
exit?
and I'll talk
Is
to you
it
later."
is it an Irish goodbye if I was with our other buddy and he was so there was 2 of us? So it's not really a true Irish goodbye.
tequila was involved, so this is looking like perhaps
No.
another international flavor.
And I would if we could bring on the other participants, one would say that I did let another person know that I was leaving. So
Did you report? You
there
reported
is
it eligible to leave? You
I
reported it?
did.
Okay.
It's like number
So
68 for Detroit.
Taylor Decker did it. Let's not get into that one. I'm not happy about that one either.
Yeah. Now that we bring it up, what's the backlash with that? Did he actually report or what?
It's a he said, she said.
What else
Uh,
are they talking about? The holidays? Why else
yeah,
would you approach the referee?
and the NFL is sitting there now. They're trying to pretty much put it back on the Lions because they tried to do some trickery and bring in the three linemen, and it just confused the ref. And so he saw 70 and heard 70. And then they do say it, like the ref says, number 70 is eligible or reporting eligible.
Yeah.
But so they're saying that Campbell didn't say anything after that, but we didn't have any timeouts. It's a horrible. That should be reviewable, especially when they talk about it pregame. That's very common practice. They go through the trick plays, what they might do, who would be reporting, what the formation is going to be. So at the end of the day, that was a costly flag and a
Lot of ripple effects.
lot of ripple effects. And that's the thing is that happens week 3, all is well, right? No big
Yeah.
deal, no harm, no foul. That cost the Lions any chance of a number 1 seed. It cost the Eagles any chance of really winning the division. It pretty much almost because the Eagles lost, but they just handed over the division to the Cowboys pretty much, which gives them home field advantage for at least 1 game.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I thought Detroit did a good job with that play call too. Big
That
number
was beautiful.
68, 370 pounds, ready to receive the
Soft
rock.
hands. Say
First
the
catch.
third time. Should have been a charm because that was another great play call. We just couldn't make the throw. Goff missed the
Yeah.
throw. That was another great play call to an unsung tight end who also was not covered. Because why would you?
Why would
But
you?
I love it. Not once, not twice, but thrice. He went for it. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So the kiddies are slotted in at the number 3 slot there. So let's get to college football here because that's a hot topic right now on all of X. It's really hard to not call it Twitter, by the way. I feel like it doesn't really
Uh,
roll off the tongue saying, "Did you see X today?" Like,
X doesn't roll. X is it's just the X. It's an X. I
Because the
like an
first
X, but X doesn't roll. It's a
So
stamp.
all over the X verse, there's all kinds of topics going on with those college football playoffs. I know that Burn Nasty's real excited right now because his boys, the stage has been set. We have the undefeated mighty Michigan Wolverines
Mm.
taking on the undefeated mighty Washington Huskies. I would say halftime, where were your vibes at during that point? And then take us through that last part of the game there where Michigan was down by 7 late in the 4th quarter.
It's a roller coaster of emotions. That whole game had me on the edge of my seat. I didn't sit at all, actually. I stood the whole moved back and forth from room to room with my brothers, with the family, went outside, watched it there, tried to switch up places. It was just I thought we dominated the first half. I loved how our defense played, but to not to only be up by 6 at half, whatever it was, like, that's tough. Like, I thought we dominated, we should've won over, I think it was a 13-10 at half, but,
Yes, that is correct.
yeah, to only be up a field goal at halftime when I thought we dominated both sides of the trenches. Our defense, I mean, sacked them 4 times, sacked Milrow 4 times, you know, kept them controlled, couldn't make the passes. He had a couple scrambles to get through, but no, I felt really good how we were moving the ball. I felt good how we were playing. So, felt good, minus the fact that Alabama was getting the ball first in the second half. And then, obviously, with everything that happened, we had some blunders with special teams that scared me. But, yeah, when Alabama went up and then we missed our field goal, and now I'm like, "Man, we're down a touchdown." Obviously, we missed extra point in the first half, which hurt us too, which, could have cost us. But
Yeah.
that second half, I'm waiting for the top to get blown off and for us to go down 14, go down 20. Like, I just was we couldn't do anything. And then, 4.5 minutes left, you gotta get down there for a touchdown, 75 yards, and I mean, great play calling, great execution. 4th down play was beautiful, and to let Corum run like that, can't leave him open. And then, obviously, you talk about overtime, that was Blake Corum is a beast, 5'8", 215-pound train, the future
The
Maurice
touchdown machine.
Jones-Drew. Uh,
Oh, I like that
so
comp.
That's what I see him as. I think he's that little bowling ball. But man, and then our defense finally stepped up again, and I think everybody knew who that ball was going to at 4th goal.
But you
Like,
also got Roman Wilson involved when he needed him, and wow,
oh,
what a
yeah.
playmaker
And
he
with that
is.
that one
Catch, deflected
yeah,
ball,
deflected, goes higher.
stay focused on it, got some hops, gets
But
inside.
what we did real well with was just the misdirections and just, like, the
No,
movement. All those shifts really confused Alabama's defense most of the time. I wish we would've done more of that. I don't think I've ever been as excited when we stopped on 4th down. I had all the family there and siblings, nieces, nephews, and we're screaming, hugging, jumping. I got my nieces crying for excitement. It was a cool scene, and my
love it.
sister videotaped it, so I can't wait to see it. But to have Michigan back in the national championship, first time really where it can be undisputed national championship. This is gonna be pretty cool.
Well, you guys got the
Amazing
monkey
defensive
off your back.
performance, Burn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
To your point.
I think getting the monkey off her back with actually being in the playoffs the last 2 years and getting relatively just blown out the first year and then losing to TCU, which should have never happened. So to come back this year and go against a tough opponent, an SEC opponent like that, and win, and against Nick Saban, where he was, I think this is probably one of the first times you can say that he was outcoached. But yeah, very exciting, very just, it's awesome. We'll see. Michigan's back, and we'll see what happens next Monday.
Yeah, you guys kept Milrow in check with his legs and through the air. He ended the game with 116 yards passing.
I think they
I
had
mean,
280 total yards, which was their lowest all
yeah,
year.
you probably could mistake him for a third string quarterback at that point, maybe even with 160.
Maybe.
Pressure was relentless, just relentless. 6.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. And to your credit on offense, you only allowed 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss. So when you win both of those by such stunning margins, just constant pressure on
Trenches.
Milrow.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you really look at that and you look at all his stats and you talk that it's we should have beat them pretty easily.
Got to clean up special
we just
teams, Burn.
yeah,
You're going to
special
need
teams
special
hurt us.
teams. You're going to need it.
Thank God that first pass of the game. I was like,
You got to reestablish.
thank God. I was like, first play interception. You got to be kidding me. But we're
Yeah, that all was well in Ann Arbor right now, but so you go to game number 2. on the docket there. You had Washington taking on Texas. I don't know what the ratings were between the two games, but I would assume that the higher rated game was the Michigan Alabama game. Washington, Texas, going into the game, I thought that Texas more than likely was probably maybe going to win. Wasn't really sure. I was hoping that Penix was going to be able to maintain the offense that because the thing with Washington is they've been really up and down all season when it came to which Washington team was going to actually show up, right? So we weren't sure. Penix was dialed in, he was ready to go. So my question to you, Bijan, is were you surprised that the Huskies were able to take care of business against Texas?
Easy for me to say now, but I was not. I was on the Washington side. Plus 4.5 points is way too many in this ball game for a really experienced ball club that has found a way to win, regardless of, like you said, what team showed up or what some of the deficiencies. They are not good against the run. We know that this is going to be foreshadowing a problem for this coming up in the national title game on Monday. But what they do really well is not only Penix's unbelievable efficiency. In fact, in the third quarter alone, game was close at half. In the third quarter alone, they outscored Texas 10-0. Penix in one quarter was 12 for 13 for 127 yards, and his one incompletion was off of a drop. That's really where they took control. Time of possession. The beauty of this Washington Huskies team is I just got a new pup. We did. First time dog owner. And this dog, very patient with my lack of canine experience or knowledge. But I've found that when I walk Winnie, what I like about her, she changes pace. We don't walk the same speed. She sees a squirrel, she sees something, she runs, then we stop. I think it's my lack of walking experience, but I say that to say that this Husky, the Washington Huskies, they can play at any speed. They can speed it up when they need to, when they're in rhythm. And Penix is using his two stud receivers that combined for almost 250 yards receiving just between them two. They can get it out to the back, or they can go slow like a python. So they can go cobra speed. Or they could come back like a python, like a Burmese python, and just absolutely, like they did in this third quarter to Texas, strangle you out. They dominated time of possession, 36 minutes to 23 minutes, and some change there for Texas, and controlled the tempo, held Texas to 4 of 11 on third downs, and did not allow Texas to use what was their strength, which is their running game, and Washington's weakness. They are going to have that same kind of game plan, or it's going to get ugly quick against Michigan in that front seven, really. But great win for Washington, 430 yards for Penix, 7 different receivers. Really fun to watch. Phenomenal effort by them. They did give up 180 yards rushing and 6.4 yards per carry. So lucky that the tempo was on their side. But great win for the Huskies. Looking forward to Monday night.
So the question that I have now is I'm going to go more into the overall aspect of how we got to those two teams. Okay, so obviously we had the Orange Bowl, Florida State. I'm really curious to see what Bijan has to say about this because it was okay. Let's start out by saying this. Florida State loses by an ungodly number of 60.
Ooh.
Nobody would have thought that even our third string would lose by 60. Going into the game, I thought that it would be maybe a 4 touchdown type of spread that we're dealing with. I actually thought that Kirby was going to probably play his starters for the first quarter and then he's right back with us with the second and third stringers, but that actually didn't happen. He was full gas. He did not
Ooh.
care about who we were playing. He was like, "This is
Out for
our
blood.
squad. We're gonna." Yeah, I don't blame him. It is what it is. If you have your guys on the roster suited up, you might as well play them. I don't really know what he should have done in that case. So Florida State loses by 60. Georgia wins by 60. Alabama loses their opportunity that they were afforded by the committee to make it into the playoff. Texas loses their opportunity to make it into the playoff afforded to them by the committee. If you were the committee right now, do you think that it makes you look fine that it turned out the way that these two games, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the Rose Bowl, do you think it makes the committee look good? Or do you think they're thinking to themselves, I think we might have made a mistake?
I think we got 2 great games, very entertaining games, 2 different games that were great for different reasons. Do I feel that Georgia would have been a tougher matchup for Michigan? I do. I think at the quarterback position, some of the other skills positions in the trenches, it would have been maybe, I don't know if it could be even a tighter game, but I think Michigan got an easier opponent in Alabama than Georgia. And I think what Kirby Smart said, and I'm not saying they wouldn't have beat Georgia because Michigan has proven that they're here to win. That's not what I'm saying. But I think Georgia and Kirby Smart said, "All right, you're going to rank us sixth, and we'll play like the top 4 team. I think we are," and that's what they showed. I think they should have been the number 4 team. I said that going into the playoff. I would have loved to have seen that game. We didn't get it. Unfortunately, Florida State really got it. So I don't know that they got this right.
Did they get 2 good games and make the money, right? Those were obviously both great games down to the last second. So as spectators, as fans, we love it. So in their minds, they didn't want blowouts. They didn't want the Georgia Florida State game in the playoff game. So I think that in their mind, they're saying, sure, yes, we got it. But obviously, as a Florida State fan and seeing how the Georgia game went, they took Texas and Washington and moved them ahead, or Texas and Alabama and moved them ahead of Florida State and Georgia, when really Georgia probably should, without a doubt, should have been in the top 4, and Florida State should have been there too and deserved the same opportunity. At the end of the day, Florida State, after getting snubbed, just those players and then losing 13, 15 starters and another 15, 20 of depth, in their mentality, their mindset, they were just defeated. And to go against a Georgia team that's pretty well stacked with their starters and with a chip on their shoulder where Kirby's ready to show that the NCAA got this wrong, it was a perfect storm for a 60-point loss, which something's got to change. They've got to fix something. And I think this is now like front and center. And it's been put on stage so people know.
Yeah, so this is my take on it. So I've spoke to a couple different types of fans, Florida fans, Big Ten fans, SEC fans, Florida State fans about this whole thing, right? And it's really funny because it really depends on where your mindset's at in the whole snub in the first place, right? So there's people, let's say Gator fans, that will look at the Florida State scenario and say, oh, yeah, since Florida State lost by 60, that's proof that they didn't deserve to be in the playoff. And I'm thinking to myself, are you psycho? That wasn't our team. If we would have gotten into the playoffs, our top 5 defense would have been matched up against Washington, not Texas. Texas gave up what, 37 points
That's
to
correct.
Washington? Florida State's defense would have not given up 37 points no matter
You're
what.
35?
I don't care who our
30.
quarterback is.
30,
I
30's
think
fair.
they would have been no, they would have been in the 20s for sure. So I think that when it really depends on your perspective, because if you hop on Twitter/X and you look through the comments of what happened yesterday, there's a lot of different fan bases that think that because Alabama lost and Texas lost, that's the proof that they weren't supposed to be in the game. Not what Florida State did in the Orange Bowl, because the Orange Bowl didn't matter. So it was really more of, okay, let's see, now that you gifted Alabama and Texas these chances, let's see what they do with it. And then there's the people that are like, oh, yeah, we got good games out of it. That's the committee's job. And my thing is that no, it's not. They're supposed to have the 4 best teams in to see who's supposed to be winning the championship, who's the best team, right? And then I alluded to it a little bit early with Bijan, is that Georgia definitely proved that they
Oh,
took that game
wow.
and they proved that they should have been in the playoff 100%. Florida State didn't
Very
have that
clear.
mentality. Now, and then on the opposite side of the spectrum, Alabama, they played well, but Milroe didn't play good. Alabama's defense played solid. They didn't look like a national title team to me, Alabama.
No,
So I
not at
think
the
that
quarterback position.
no,
Defense and special teams, yes. It takes
yeah,
their offense very predictable. They got some fortunate field positions, and granted, they had a couple well blocked runs, but overall, no.
yeah. So it's just because they made it a good game, that's proof that they deserve to be it. So I
Yeah.
actually think that the committee probably looks at this and they were hoping that one of those 2 teams got advanced. I
Yeah,
think. Uh,
I agree.
I don't know if we'll ever get any kind of feedback from anybody in the committee to hear what they had to say about this whole thing.
We're having anybody on? Are they joining us today, Huff? Did they decline our invites?
Check them
Yeah.
out.
Bo, he declined.
Yeah, so I just think it was interesting that it really depended on who I talked to. That like some people were like, yes, the games were close. That's all we wanted. And the 2 undefeated teams advanced. That's what we wanted. And all is well in the world of college football. And I'm like,
I think I'm just saying that they got 2 good games, and so therefore, just by the fact that there was 2 close games, that shows that those 4 teams were very evenly matched And therefore, you could say that we got the 4 right teams in there, the 4 best teams.
Mm,
But yes, 100% think that's not the fact.
yeah,
That's not the truth.
right.
But
Like if
I
Georgia and
think that's what
FSU
you're
would have
looking
been
at.
in, it might have literally been Georgia FSU in the national title game. I
Yeah.
I think
Possible to imagine.
Now, I don't want to take any credit away from Washington and Michigan. I do think that they did what they needed to do. They did have two tough games that they had to come out victorious on. So we're going to preview the national title game later on when we do our picks. I think we probably already know who Burns going to pick, but we'll have to see the caviar.
Yeah,
Caviar.
we'll see, you guys. Wait for the big
Yeah.
surprise.
The NFL, they're down to their last week in the regular season, so there's some juicy scenarios going on there. One of the juiciest that I would have to say is the Buffalo Bills. So here's the scenario. If they beat Miami, they win the division, which I don't think that we would have. You could go back through all the past weeks. We didn't think that Buffalo was going to win the division. We thought that they could make the playoffs. They did start to get some momentum. Miami's going the opposite direction. So now here we are where Buffalo, if they win the game against Miami, they will advance as the division winner. Okay. Now, if they lose, there's actually a scenario where Buffalo could be out of the playoffs altogether because it depends on what Pittsburgh and Jackson do.
Very
So
small
if,
percentage chance, I would believe. Yeah.
yeah, if Pittsburgh and Jacksonville both win and Buffalo loses, Buffalo's, and I don't think it's far fetched for Pittsburgh and Jacksonville to both win. So the stakes are as high as they can possibly get for Buffalo in this game. We're going to go straight to the pick 'em on this particular game, and I want you to talk about what you think is going to happen with Buffalo in the playoff scenario.
Circling the wagons, as predicted, I believe we talked about it. I got them 25-1 a couple weeks ago when they were struggling to win the Super Bowl. This team's won 4 out of 5. Their only loss is a 3-point overtime loss to Philly, who is struggling, but still not a bad loss at all on the road. They've already beat the Dolphins 48-20. It's a juicy Sunday night game. The only thing to worry about on Miami, if you're looking for a Miami side, is they are 8-2 against the spread this year. The Dolphins have played really well and covered or taken the points. But here's the difference: Buffalo offense second in the red zone. You know you have to be able to put up points against this Mike McDaniel's team. When they get to the red zone, they score touchdowns. Miami's red zone defense 30th. 30th. Doesn't get much worse than that. Also, Buffalo's offense first and third down conversions, Miami middle of the pack. So they're going to keep the ball and possess it when they want to. That's the other way to defeat Miami, is not let them have the football. Similar to the way the Huskies handled the Longhorns on Monday night in the collegiate side. And I think the defense is just going to pressure to, we've seen what he has done the past couple of weeks under pressure, throwing some really ill-advised picks. I love the way Buffalo's playing. Miami, not a great home field advantage. Give me the Bills to keep circling, to from nowhere come back, from the grave, rise from the grave, and circle the wagons. Give me the Bills.
We are aligned. I can tell you
Yes,
that.
first alignment of the year.
Telling you.
Oh, wow.
Telling you. No, I agree. I think they're going in different directions. I think Miami is dealing with the injury bug quite a bit, especially on defense, with both their DNs out, Chubb and Phillips. You throw in Xavier and Howard. He's injured, not sure if he'll play, most likely out. I, to me, Buffalo has already proven that they can dominate Miami. They can make them one dimensional. And really, if you just shut down the running game and make Tyreek catch 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, maybe there's a chance. But Buffalo's the more complete team, and Buffalo knows what's at stake. And you look at the last 4 or 5 weeks, opposite directions. Yeah, give me the Bills, lay the points on the road. It's some warm weather down there. They're gonna be just fine.
I don't
Playoff
know
bound,
if
baby.
Miami, yeah, I don't know if Miami is going to win the game, but I do that they're at home and I like them to keep it close. If you're talking about Buffalo is obviously going to be playing with a little bit more desperation because Miami at least knows that they're going to be in the playoffs regardless. Buffalo, they have to win to get in. I think that they're going to be full throttle on
Oh
this
yeah.
game, but the problem is that Buffalo, they're so much better at home than they are on the road. Yes, they're hot, and Miami is not because they're coming off of that freaking 56-19
Ooh,
spank session.
drubbing. And
I don't even understand what how do you beat a team in the Denver Broncos 79-3 and then lose 59-16 in the same season?
incredible. Ravens are loaded. Ravens are loaded.
Yeah,
They're hot too, yeah.
I think that's the Ravens have shown that they are a really good team, and I remember back when they beat the Lions and they drubbed us, and everybody was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the Lions aren't for real." I think it was
Ravens
the
are for
fact
real.
that the Ravens are, like, for real.
Yeah.
Agree.
I think Miami's gonna keep it within a field goal if you can. For the purpose of the show, I'll take +3 Miami, but if you can, I would take +3 in the hook and, play a little bit safer there. It might even go to +3.5 by the time it
Could see that with
Yeah.
the injuries.
yeah, but that is going to be the game of the weekend, I think.
Sunday night too. What a
Yeah,
Yeah.
treat.
yeah, yeah. And then so I'll start with you on this one, Burn. The Eagles they've lost 4 out of their last 5. My question to you is, are you worried at all about your 4th favorite team in the NFL or
I am. I would say I am concerned. There's no doubt about it. They've fallen off the wagon, and this past weekend was just it's inexplicable. You listen to the Cardinals
Mhm.
in that fashion, giving up that many points when that defense has been so stout all year, so something's
Uh,
gotta give. I would start I'm worried. I would think that they should really be worried, especially the fact that now they don't have a path to that home field playoff game. Like, that hurts with them going on the road, but they're gonna make the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs, but they don't have a lot of time to fix whatever is going on with them. But, yeah, if I'm the Eagles fans, I'm not liking this direction.
I thought you were an Eagles fan. Did that Are you no longer
Yeah,
now?
I know people that are really big Eagles fans, and, I pray for them. And
Aligned
so
with them.
the people and it's you
There's
have a problem. Birds
so
don't like other birds. They cannot defeat an opponent that either flies or is a foul of the air. They lost to the Seahawks, lost to the Cardinals, they lost to the Jets. If you thrive in the air, you can beat the Eagles. They don't like other birds.
Look at that.
yeah, their only win coming against the lowly Giants, by the way. So I think that the silver lining, if you're an Eagles fan, is that yes, you would have to go on the road in the first week of the playoffs,
But
but
where are
more
you
than
going?
likely it's going to be in Raymond James Stadium where they match up very well
Is
against
that located
the Buccaneers.
in New Orleans?
Actually, no, I guess we'll have to say if we're going off of Bijan's pick, that they'll have to travel to Atlanta.
ATL
Yeah.
still
So
not
I
enough.
guess we'll
Falcons
just have to
fly.
wait and see.
Dirty
The
birds.
Falcons do fly.
Ooh.
Uh, okay, so from a shock factor, there's a couple of different things that I was surprised by. The shock factor being zing is the lowest and bazinga being
Mhm.
highest. Burn, I'm gonna rattle off a couple things here for you. You tell me which zing you're at. With Russell Wilson being benched and his whole saga in general, actually.
Oh, if you include the whole saga, that's a
Yeah.
big bazinga for sure. It's just you feel bad for the guy. It's a crazy thing, and then to have Sean Payton blatantly say that he benched him because of production, and he wants a spark. Like, no, that's not the. And then Russ coming out saying that it was because of a contract. So it's because of the contract. 37 plus million guaranteed if he were to get injured in the next 2 games or last game or this upcoming one. I but I think it's bizarre that you're gonna give up on the season like that and just bench him because of a financial decision. And yeah, it doesn't lock in that money, but if they were to release him, I mean that the cap hits is like 84 million. Dude, they're screwed either way. And now all they've
Oh,
done is force his hand, and now he's gonna demand out. Yeah, that's just a effed up situation to be honest. It's horrible. Bazinga for sure.
Well, the weirdest part about that is that they actually made a nice little comeback in their season. I don't think that Russell Wilson necessarily was a massive part in it.
Benched him after a win.
He's, I
very
know,
surprising.
and but it's the way that they win is so ugly. Russell Wilson is no longer an explosive quarterback. He's more of a manager than anything. And I guess the money was enough for them to bench him. I was shocked by that. I agree with you with the Bazinga. Another thing on this one, Bijan, the LA Rams clinching a couple weeks ago. I don't know if we would have said the Rams would have been in the playoffs. Zing or Bazinga?
Zing. Not a surprise with the talent that they have and the coach that they have. Now, their season, with some of the injuries, they have overcome a lot, but Cooper Cup is back. Hookah is back. Their defense is doing what they need to do to win the game. They won 5 out of 6. Their only loss to the Ravens in overtime on a punt return. This is a team, I'm going to tell you, I'm not excited for the Lions to play in that first round. They're dangerous. They have playoff experience, recent Super Bowl win. Doesn't surprise me. I think it's more of a bazinga if you're the Lions because you don't want to see the Rams coming. But overall, it's a
Do you think that it was shocking from a Zing or a Bazinga that the Browns clinched, Burn?
Bazinga. You go from Deshaun Watson to PJ Walker, and now you take journeyman old Joe Flacco off the streets. And for what he's done in the 4 or 5 weeks that he's been quarterback, he's got more touchdown passes than like 6 teams for their whole season. So,
without
you
Nick
know,
Chubb
yeah,
as well.
yeah, throw in Nick Chubb
Yeah.
being out. So it's just like, yeah, it's crazy the fact that they've clinched a playoff spot. And hell, any other season they would be probably playing this weekend to win the division. But the Ravens are obviously in a league of their own. Yeah, definitely a bazinga to see that they're now playoff bound. Something that their in-state college team cannot say.
Mr. Blackito.
It's almost historic. It's been almost 30 years since the Lions and Browns the playoffs in the same year. 1994, Bill Belichick was coaching the Brownies, led by Vinny Testaverde and Pepper Johnson, one of the great middle linebackers. Great names. Pepper Johnson.
Nice.
The Lions team was
Nice.
loaded, though. Lomas Brown, anchoring the offensive line. Johnny's Morton. Herman Moore, some
Herman
guy
Moore,
named
yeah,
Barry
baby.
Sanders, and Wayne Fonts. 1994, the last time it happened.
It's amazing. Okay, so I would say that it's just insane. Bazinga times 7 that the Browns are going into the final week of the season and they clinched. Nobody after Watson went out, everybody had them written off. And not that they were playing incredibly great with Watson, to be honest. Had some ups and downs with him already as it was. I'm kudos to them for it would be amazing. It would be what an amazing story it would be if the Browns were able to even advance in the playoff. So, Bajan, there is Purdue NCAA college basketball rare sighting here.
Boiler up.
Um, Purdue has a 7'4" center, averaging 24 points, 10 rebounds a game. Edie, are you shocked that he's projected to go late first round, maybe even second round? He's 7'4".
It's great, but we've seen how that, for the most part, plays out. Jorge Murajan, Sean Bradley, the Mantis. Bradley was 7'6" and about 76 pounds, so that didn't help. At least Edie has some girth.
Yeah.
These big fellas that are slow, it's not today's game. No one is getting it down and dumping it to a big man for the most. No, Whippy is a different player. That's size and skill combined and a lot more fast twitch. Edie, there's nothing fast about him. That is a freight train. You're putting coal in it. You got to wait for the coal to heat up. It's got to get down the track. Something may go bad with the rail. We've seen what happens in big games with him. I think that's just about right for me.
Really? Okay. I was just surprised because he's doing so well this season and his height. It's just, man, I would have thought for sure he would have been a top 10 pick at the projections, but I was way off on that. Burn, last one in the Zing Bazinga game. So your local university there in D-Land. Actually, yeah,
No.
you're a D-Land guy, but you're not in D-Land anymore.
There's always a
Stetson-
DeLand at heart.
That's right.
Stetson has a top 4 NCAA score. Did you know that?
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I have quite a few buddies that have season tickets and that are really involved with fundraising for the team. And so
Nice.
they definitely
So
are
Jalen
publicizing
Blackman,
it.
23 a game. Got to give him a shout out on this one.
Yeah.
That was
He actually leads the
shocking.
team in assists and rebounds and points. He's a
Do
one-man
it
wrecking
all.
crew.
But he
Look, Stetson's. I think they're 8-6, 1 game back of the conference lead, which is tied. I think 3 teams are tied up there at 9-5. But yeah, they're playing well. Donnie Jones has them clicking on all cylinders, and we'll see what happens with Stetson. They've got a good team, but yeah, it's pretty impressive what that guy's doing. He's had some
Shocking.
30+ point
Yeah.
games. The guy can play. He's showing.
incredible. Just beat UNC Charlotte 79-75 in a thriller. 34 points in
Yeah,
37
34.
minutes. Give me a point a minute.
Take it.
First
I
round
had a
pick,
point a
baby, let's
game
go.
in my career. I think
Yeah.
mine was a point a game. Maybe every other. A point a minute. Wow.
Yeah, he's either
Well-
gonna. I don't know. I don't know where he lies on the draft side of things, but I would imagine he'll get some calls to make a move to a little larger
Transfer.
university potentially.
More than likely, that what they can do is Stetson and USC can just trade him for Bronny James. Bronny James is averaging 5 points a game, 3 rebounds, and a steal right now. What is he getting paid to play for USC? Is my question. A mil? What's
He's
the
up there.
NIL on Bronny James? It's got to be. You would assume that he's getting paid something like that, right?
Oh yeah, he's definitely over $1 million.
Mike, with those stats, do you guys think that there's no way he's going to the NBA after this, right?
I'd
freshman,
show
right?
almost. Yeah.
He's got some time. I don't know. I've been overly impressed. I think it's just under $6 million total annually he's making with his deals and from the school. Tom TBD. He is a freshman. Let's give him some time. He's able to share the basketball. He's not lighting the world on fire right now. But what if freshmen were really just freshmen? I
But
know
does he-
it's a world that's hard to imagine.
I think the question is whether does he make the jump so that
Yeah.
LeBron can,
Yeah, I
you
see.
know, and then that way whatever team is they're gonna draft him no matter what because they want to get LeBron on their team type thing. So
Yeah.
it'd be interesting. I think he should
I-
stay. As
With these stats, it's not looking like he even has an opportunity
no,
to go to the NBA right now. Why? What team other than just for the money, the publicity of getting LBJ, or else LBJ is going to have to play another year on top of that? And at what point is he going to
Methuselah. It's amazing.
he's 52 playing with his son that can't play. At the end of the day, though, if you're a team that wants to take a chance on an undrafted free agent like Bronny, is if it guarantees LeBron for a couple years,
It's all about the money, baby. That's all
it.
it is. The
I
magic.
can see that route,
That's their
Vern.
book.
Undrafted that free agent could work.
Yeah.
That would work really well. It would be a scenario that, let's say, for example, the Magic, if they were picking at number 20, would they take a risk and just draft Bronny James to get LeBron in Orlando for a season? I don't know if it'd be worth that. I don't really know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe.
I have a feeling that LeBron would just tell the 2 or 3 teams that he wants to go to or willing to go to. And then that's what happens. And then Bronny's agent says, we won't go to any other team. So then you can do the whole San Diego
It's
Giants
Houston.
trade thing.
That would be his
yeah.
way to go to the Knicks. I don't want him to go to the Knicks. I don't
want him to go to
Knicks
the
have
Magic.
get.
Yeah, I'm good.
No thanks.
So, was there any stats that stood out to you guys over the weekend? NFL, college, basketball, anything?
Bajan probably has 3 or 4. We could
Go
just
ahead,
use
Vern.
those.
I was going to talk about my air fryer. I got an air fryer from my wonderful mother-in-law. And the stats on this thing, so many air frying settings. I've not had one before. People have been talking about it. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what is next level. Totino's pizza rolls in the air fryer. So crispy.
Yeah.
Crispy. In the little basket is just
Um,
magic. It puts it in the basket. It's just magic. I had fish sticks tonight. Wings on
Six for
Saturday.
dinner.
I mean, I'm wearing this air fryer out. I mean, I'm going to
Fish
blow the
sticks?
wattage on it. Fish sticks for breakfast, whatever it takes. This air fryer's in every meal. Pop-Tarts
Yeah.
in the air
Highly
fryer.
recommend. The best part about the air fryer is when you go out to eat and you have leftover fries or something like that.
Oh,
You can't put fries in the microwave the next day.
Mm.
They're just it doesn't work. But you can actually put them in the air fryer and it tastes just as good as it did when you first got them.
pro tip. So that's my shout out to my wonderful
Yeah.
mother-in-law and
Nice.
the
I
air
would-
fryer as an entire unit.
Yeah, I've got one of those air fryers, but it's also in like the conventional oven, like all in one, and it does not air fry like it's a single like solely focused on air fryer type thing. So just an FYI, don't get
You need
that
to
if
upgrade?
you're expecting. I do. I need like an actual air fryer. Connoisseurs, let me know if
Sounds
you
like a
guys want to give
problem.
me a little late Christmas gift.
It may be a
I
sponsorship.
want
Cuisinart, are you
yeah,
there?
yeah. I don't really have a stat, but I would say that what kind of was a cool little I guess it's a stat, but not like a but it's 67-yard punt by the Iowa punter against on that Tennessee embarrassing game, broke the single season record for total punting yards in a
Wow.
season. Which was in 1938.
It's a great year
Yeah,
for
I give a
punting.
shout out to my special
I
teams
love
because
that.
obviously
I love that.
Michigan couldn't do it, but he
Is
has
he already in the portal? Is he headed to
more than
Michigan already
I
after
hope
that
so.
punt?
Hopefully, I can get it by Monday. 4,186 yards in the
Wow.
season for punting yards. But it shows how probably bad Iowa's offense was to have to punt that many times. But they're saying that he'll be the first special teams drafted in the upcoming draft.
Just like
But yeah,
Aguayo.
Tory Taylor.
So great name. It's a
Let's
name
give
that's
him
going
a
to play in
shout
10
out.
to 12 years. Tory
Yeah.
Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So I'd give him a nice little shout out.
okay. So Bijan has a shout out to his air fryer. Byrne has a shout out to a punter. And I want to give a shout out to the Detroit Pistons for being the absolute laughing stock of just everything. What? How are they 3-29 and how do they charge admission for any time the Pistons are playing a team?
It's
Is
free to get in. It's actually a homeless shelter. Whoever shows up just gets in.
It hasn't been good after spending all that money for our coach.
Not looking good. That contract per win, not pretty.
Yeah. He's making $4.5 million a win right now.
With the exception of last night, they are showing a lot more fight in the last 5 games. I actually watched them
Yeah.
for some reason. My youngest,
Why?
God bless him, likes to watch the Pistons. And I don't know if it's just there's a lot of compassion in his young heart, but he likes to watch them. So they've been fighting. Last night they got blown out, but the other games they've been putting in some battles.
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. We got
Uh,
talent. It does not mesh well. So I imagine they're gonna be very active coming up.
So coming up on this week, the Magic are playing Golden State tonight as we speak on this podcast airing, and then they have to take on Sacramento, Denver, and then Atlanta. My question, what do you guys think the Magic record will be out of those 4 games? Let's start with you, Bajan.
2-2, even. So a loss, 2 delicious wins on the crust. Just mushy in the middle. Denver and Sacramento, really tough ball clubs, can light it up. I think we'll win the first game, win the 4th game. Magic
State?
lose the 2 middle. Golden State's struggling right now. Not a great team. Team from 2 years ago is not walking through the door. Magic will win tonight. They will lose the next 2 games. Probably put up a good fight in one of them, and then they'll win the 4th game is my prediction. 2-2.
I'd
We
like
are
to
aligned.
I think that's what no, we are not on
Oh,
this. Because I feel like
wow.
we need to be 2-2 out of that. But I think that stretch is tough in the way we've been playing. 1-3, unfortunately. I think we probably lose the next 3 and hopefully break the cycle at home.
Sad. It's very sad. So I went to the Magic game. I took my son out there last week. The Magic were playing the 76ers. No Embiid. So I figured that I was safe to go to this game because we're on a little bit of a cold streak for attending live games. The Magic, I think we're like 1-9.
Ooh.
Um,
They may ban
I
you.
thought that I'm just like, good Lord, what is happening? Caro could not hit the ocean if he was standing in front of it that night. Ice cold, just disgusting. They ended up doing what I thought they were gonna do, and they beat the Knicks the next on Fridays. Of course, they beat the Knicks, and then they lose to the Sixers, which I would have liked them to do a reverse
Reverse.
Little
for that.
flip.
I think tonight's game is huge against Golden State because I think if they lose to Golden State, they're definitely losing to Sacramento. They're definitely losing to Denver. I think they probably go 1-3. Atlanta's struggling a little bit. The problem right now with the Magic is they've actually lost control over the division already. Miami's now tied with them for first place. This stretch is massive for the Magic. If they want to prove that they are the the team to beat for the division, it's going to come during this 4-game stretch. They come out 3-1. They might actually have a shot to prove to the world that they are the team that we thought that they were. But I don't know. They're going to have to get more cohesiveness out of the squad in order to do. Let's get to the segment here. Pick'ems. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we covered some teams that were going to be on the bubble in this weekend in the NFL. Houston, Indy. The Colts are -1.
CJ Stroud for the win. And credit to the Texans for battling with some key injuries to Stroud, to Nico Collins. This team is a different team with Stroud. I could pour on some other stouts, but CJ Stroud is a difference. Houston wins.
Yeah. So for me, unfortunately, not aligned with Bijan here as we usually are. But look, I'm going to take the Colts at home because you can't keep Gardner Minshew down. I think they find a way. Jonathan Taylor is back to his old self. They're playing well. So I think they pulled that one out. Love CJ Stroud. I think he's the
Yeah.
best quarterback in the rookie class. Very impressed with what D'Amico Ryans has done with that team and getting to where they are now. But I just don't see them pulling this one out on the road in a high pressure game. Give me Gardner, give me the Colts, but they will not win the division.
Mm.
So if Jacksonville loses and Indianapolis wins, the
They
Colts
are
win the division?
Colts are the division champs.
Okay. And same thing with Houston?
Same. If the Jags lose, the winner of that game wins the division.
Okay. Some pressure on the Jags this weekend.
Especially, yeah, but it's home game Titans.
Yeah.
Got to be able to
Not totally
got to be able to win that one if you want to do. You got to be able to win that game.
Have to.
Current state of the
It-
Titans.
It's almost the same breath as the Bucks and the Panthers, right? If
Mm.
if the Bucks can't beat the Panthers, they don't deserve to be in the freaking playoffs. I
Agreed.
think same goes with the Tennessee team that has been eliminated from the playoffs. So
And my apologies. It is on the road. Sorry. So it's gonna be tough.
yeah,
But the Titans
no,
are
it's not gonna.
disarray.
Yeah, you guys will be fine unless Will Levis
Levis.
rocket and roll.
Hold up. You never know. Look what they did in South Beach a couple weeks ago.
Mr. Levis, he's back on the show. We were able to sneak him in. I'm going with Houston. I think that it wasn't fool's gold, the streak that they were on earlier this season. I actually started to become a little of a believer in the Texans, and I do think that they can beat the Colts. The Colts are a very average team, obviously. So is Houston, but I think in this particular case, Houston's going to take care of business and either win the division or maybe sneak into the wild card there. Now, I put this game on here just because I'm shocked that the Bears are even competitive down the stretch here. You got the Bears, and same thing with Green Bay. Green Bay is fighting for a wild card position as well. I'll start with you, Burn. Green Bay's -3 in this game. Do they just take care of it? No problem. What's up?
I think it's gonna be a good game, but I gotta give some love to Jordan there. I just think the way he's been playing lately, he's showing Green Bay that they potentially made a right decision with him. Aaron Jones back, they're a different team. I'm just gonna pull at Lambeau last game of the season. Green Bay's gonna find a way to win that game. So I'm gonna say lay the points and give me Green Bay.
Well, the other way. Last season, A. Rodgers last year in Green Bay, that last game didn't go well for him. That would mean a lot to Jordan Love. But I like what I have seen from this nothing to lose Bears team. They've won 4 out of 5, and they played much better football. They dominated my beloved Falcons, which is not that impressive, in a snow globe on Sunday. Fields is playing better. DJ Moore is believing. Cole Kmet is getting involved. They're running the ball much better. The defense is vastly improved. I think they're going to play spoiler this week. And then I feel like the Sea Turkeys beat the other foul in their division, Arizona, and Seattle goes to the playoffs. I'm going to take the Bears outright. The Bears.
Oh, wow. I think what's happening in this particular scenario here is that Bijan probably had a Seattle will make the playoffs preseason bet.
Perhaps I did. Perhaps I did. I
And,
responsibly.
and this is the way that he's gonna achieve that is The Bears beating the Packers.
You
Um,
know me well.
I think there's kudos to Chicago for being 7-9 right now. I thought that they were by far one of the worst teams in the NFL at the beginning of the season. To be in the place that they're at right now, I would say that they're probably fine with Justin Fields at quarterback now. They're probably not going to draft one, right?
I don't think I
Number one
would,
overall pick.
based on what you've seen.
The number one pick normally goes for a quarterback, though. So you think they draft a quarterback and trade Fields?
I
I
just
think
think
I
you. I
traded.
mean,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Brent.
No, I think you have the opportunity to do either or. Right? They have to really trust that Justin Fields is going to become this all-pro quarterback. And yes, we've seen some spurts and some glimpses of it, but I don't know if they're sold. And you have the number one overall pick to see if you think Caleb Williams or Drake May is that guy, and then you could trade Justin Fields for some pieces. Then maybe it's worth it. But again, you have the number one pick. If you decide to keep Fields, you're going to get a boatload of a package for that number
Yeah.
one overall pick. So they're in a great position. Whether as long as they believe in one of those quarterbacks.
They can trade Justin Fields to the Bucks, and I would probably be happy with that, to be honest.
Yeah,
Even after
I'd
what
take that.
Baker's given you.
He's just too inconsistent for me. I'm sick of the inconsistencies with Baker. I mean, you saw last week, all we had to do was beat the Saints to clinch, and you couldn't get it done. We looked like a big
Defense didn't
piece of
really help
crap.
you up there either. Yeah.
They only gave up 23 points. It's not like they put up 59 on us, you know? But I say all that to say this: Green Bay is going to win the game. They're going to cover. I like that they're at home. Now, I wanted to throw this game in the mix because Bijan seems to think that this is the game for the NFC South. The prediction is that the Bucks are going to lose to Carolina, and then Atlanta, New Orleans, the winner of this game, will move on as the NFC South champion to face the Philadelphia Eagles. New Orleans -3.5 at home.
It's a new year, and it's okay to say I was wrong. The Falcons will not win the worst division in football. Atlanta fans, I'm sorry. I've misled you. I'm going to own my mistakes in this year. This is a mistake of a team, mistake of an offense, mistake of a play calling. I do cool. Not a mistake. But the Saints are they're the 3 out of 5 that their 2 losses were to the Rams and the Lions. They just happen to peak too late. Their offense is humming, getting everybody involved. Defense playing much better. I think the Saints may blow out the Falcons on Sunday. Give me the Saints to finish the year strong.
I'm going to take the Saints. I think this is a pretty easy decision. Lay the points. Saints are playing really well, or better than the Falcons for sure. This division as a whole has been just rough to watch all season, but I would expect that Tampa will put up a fight against the Panthers and possibly win. But not. I still think that my pick of the Saints win the division is possible because I think the Bucks can lose to anybody, and they sure as hell can lose to the Panthers.
Wow.
For a team that's
Man.
playing for nothing other than being a spoiler, 100%.
Apparently, you have not been watching football all season.
I
Yes,
have.
the
It's
Bucks have
been
been
it's
up
been
and
bad.
down. Carolina's absolute trash.
They have 2 wins, so they are capable of winning.
Yeah, I don't think that they're playing to win. I think they're probably playing for draft picks at this point.
Yeah,
No, they lose
Uh,
their draft pick. They give it to Chicago.
it just gets worse.
That's where
It
Bijan's
just gets
hometown
worse.
there.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
I really thought that Bijan was going to go with Atlanta on a prayer, on a Hail Mary that they could win the division still.
If they threw forward passes, I could go with a Hail Mary, but they don't throw the ball. No one seemed to have told them that you can do that in today's stage.
Now, the national title game is Monday, correct?
It is.
Are you going to the game, Burn?
I will tell you that we looked. I don't think it's in the cards. Not on the cards. I feel
How
like I'd
much?
have to. The cheapest ticket we could find was $1,800 a seat. For me, it's just there's no way that makes any sense. Dave Portnoy, where you at, buddy? Bring me. You would have a field day there. Yeah, no,
You've already
I love
went
it.
to the Michigan Ohio State game this year. You can be so greedy about
I know,
everything.
that's exactly right. And then the lady that we stayed at and hosted us and gave us tickets, she's going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Super fan.
she
She
parlayed Ohio
took all of
State
her.
tickets for the
Yeah,
Natties.
she took all. But yeah, she was smart. I guess her and her like her some of her lady friends made a deal that they would and they bought tickets or put in for tickets a while back as boosters.
Are you bothered that it's on a Monday?
I've always hated these Monday nights for the national championship. We're so used to it. It just sucks now that 2013 I was at the game for Florida State, and then
Yeah.
2000 I was there for Florida State. So the only time that I actually cared about it, I was actually at the game. So this will be the first time that I care about it, and I'm having to watch it from home at 8:30 at night
Mm, see.
on Mondays. But you know what? It'll be worth every lack of sleep that I get.
Just keep an eye out on the prices. You never know. They might drop down to
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, if they got under 1,000, I'd probably sign up today, but we'll see.
But if FSU had made the national title game, I was thinking that I was going to be going to this game. But if it
Mm.
was 2 grand just for the ticket,
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. Washington, as it stands right now, is plus 4.5 going into this game. Do you feel confident enough to say Michigan covers that no problem?
I would say that I'm not confident enough to say that they cover it no problem, but I am confident enough to know that defense wins championships. And those 2 out of those 2, Michigan is the better defense. They've been all season. But, yeah, it's we're going against a great offense in Washington. They've been great all season. What are we Michigan's defense, points per game, 1st in the country. Washington's 10th in the country in points per game on offense. 2nd in passing yards, defense-wise. Washington's 1st in passing yards on offense. We're 4th in yards per play on defense. They're
Oof.
5th in yards per play on offense. So it is
Mhm.
like it's going to be a battle, and it's the 2 of the better teams as far as that goes. I just think we're more complete. I think we're a better offensive team than they are defensively, and I also say that we can make Penix one dimensional with Dylan Johnson potentially out with that lower leg injury. I think that
Yeah.
affects the running game. With our front 7, I think we can really put pressure on him like we did Milrow. I just feel really good about how we played against Alabama. If we bring that to Washington, I think we can do well. And we've shown that we can score points, not exactly this season because we really haven't had to, but if you go back to last year's TCU game, going against the high powered offense, we showed that we can put the same amount of points, losing by 7, but putting up 45 plus. So we just made some costly mistakes on 2 pick sixes. But I think we've learned Jim McCarthy has shown he's a better quarterback, a better manager of the game. He can make plays with his legs. I just feel good. Feel good.
I feel
Uh,
good.
I do. I like red zone touchdowns. Michigan's defense is 5th in the country. Washington's defense 117th. As Bajan mentioned earlier in the episode, their run defense is one of their weaknesses. What do we do?
Cool.
Michigan's that bully, those bully rushers. They want to bully up front and they want to run down your throat. We did that against Penn State, running 35 straight times. We can do that, but we can also adapt and make the plays in the passing game. So, long story short, Michigan will cover. Michigan will win the national championship, and we will be celebrating next week.
I think you talked yourself into the confidence. John, what do you think?
It's hard not to be confident if you're a Michigan fan right now. Now, these teams both 14-0, 28 wins between them, which is really impressive. This is not an ideal matchup for anyone, but especially the Washington Huskies. Michigan's ability to run the football is the Achilles heel for the Huskies. I really do think that Penix will perform well because of his release timing. I think they will pressure him, but Washington's schemes are so ingenious. They will get their playmakers the ball quickly. Now, can they convert 5 to 6 passes or 7 passes in a drive and string that together in the Michigan defense? That's where it gets tough because I do think that Michigan will stuff the run. I think Penix has showed that he can get out of the pocket. Is his strength? No, but he did have 36 rushing yards against Texas, which is a surprise. However, you don't want to make a living out there against Michigan's linebackers doing that because you may not make it through the whole game. The side I would favor if you choose, play responsibly, to wager would be the under here. It's 59.5. That's way too high. I think Michigan, both these teams want to control the game. Washington may start quick because they're going to want to get a lead. I think Michigan will know that and want to and play the pass to begin. If Washington does not get out to a lead, this is going to be a very low scoring Michigan dominant win. 4.5. Anything could happen. I would say special teams, but I don't think Michigan could play worse than they did last week on special teams. So that's probably out of their system. Washington's they got experience. They're fighters. I think Michigan is just a better overall team. I will most likely stay away from the 4.5 because I could see this being 21-17 with a backdoor. Maybe it's 21-10 going into the fourth, and Washington gets a late score, and then they run out of time. That would be the best I think Washington could do. So may stay away from the 4.5. I really do the under at 59.5. I will say I will pick Michigan for the game, but Penix, I think we'll give him a battle. It's a tough Washington squad.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be an interesting game in general to watch because Washington and Alabama are two totally different kinds of offenses that they're going to be going up against. So I think that they had a great game plan for Alabama. They had it, but I do think that Michigan also had a little bit of extra time to prepare for that game versus this particular game. They're just going to have their normal week of practice. The thing, Penix, when he releases a ball, it's so awkward looking a little bit, don't you think? It's like a little,
But it comes out quick and accurate. Woo!
yeah. Okay. Washington played one top 10 defense all season. And can you guess how many points they put up against that team?
13.
Bijan?
19?
35 against the Utah Utes, actually.
Hmm.
And it makes me wonder, maybe they don't care about these things that you're talking about, Burn, with the stunts up front and trying to get pressure on Penix and all these things. Maybe their scheme is enough to actually get a lead by halftime and make this a game. But I don't think that's actually going to be the case. I think Michigan is going to dominate. I think that Michigan is possibly going to win in a blowout in this game. If I was a Florida State fan and we were matched up against Washington in the first round of the playoffs, I would have been licking my chops, baby, because that's the one team that I think is very beatable. And I do think that Michigan is the best team out of the four that they picked. You don't even need to sweat about this matchup, Burn. You should have the champagne on ice. You should just have it sitting there ready to go. You might
I
even be
will.
able to pop it
The
at
one,
halftime.
the one thing though is that the Washington weapons, these are going to be the best set of weapons that we've gone against. Yes, we went against Marvin Harrison Jr., but
Yeah.
now we get Rome. So it's plus they've got so Dunzy, and they've got 2 or 3 other ones that are just as are very good too. So it'll be interesting.
Put up
But
a
I
good
think
defense,
our
though.
secondary is one of our strengths too. The whole damn defense is our strength. But Will
Yeah.
Johnson will take a Dunzy, and we'll just pair up everybody else. And we got Sanistrell. We got players that can match up and have the speed. So I feel really good about it. But it's just one of those things. Have learned not to be too confident with my
Super
teams
confident.
in years
Yeah.
past.
Turnovers is going to be a big part of it. I think that's the only thing that's going to really keep Washington in it. If they're within one possession in the fourth quarter, I think Washington could win the game, but I don't think it's going to I don't think it's going to get to that point. I think you guys will manhandle them up front. Washington doesn't have a good defense. So as long as you guys just put together a nice little scheme here and make a couple stops in the first half, I think you can just sucker punch them. They'll be done at halftime.
We just need Blake Corum to score a rushing touchdown.
Just one?
That's it.
That's good to
Michigan
score
is
a touchdown.
Michigan is 31-0 when Blake Corum scores a rushing touchdown.
Seems likely.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
it took till overtime to get the one against Alabama. So we just need one.
Give him the rock early and give
He
him the
needs
rock often.
often. Oh yeah. No,
And
I think it's a different line. I think our rushing is going to be we're 200 plus yards in this game.
could easily see that. Easily see that with some great play actions. I think Roman Wilson catches 5 to 6 balls and some long ones on some play actions.
Yeah.
Washington's got to come out fast. They know that it's not impossible for them to win the game. It's just they will have to have perfect execution, perfect game plan, perfect game tempo, and that's difficult to do against an opponent like Michigan.
I wonder what the odds were on Washington at the beginning of this.
Quite tasty, but tasty.
Tastier than Michigan, I'm damn
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
They had to have been at least what you say 200 to 1? What the odds were?
Probably not 200. I would say probably
30?
35 to 1. 35 to 1 would be my guess. Not sure.
What was their preseason? What they were ranked preseason? Washington.
Yeah,
They were in the top 20 or 15. Top
I think
20
top
maybe to start.
15.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be there's whoever somebody placed that bet before the
Oh,
season
yeah.
started.
Oh, 100%.
Now is their time to hedge because I don't think it's going to happen, but kudos to them for if anybody did take that wager. At least it came through. I actually had a preseason FSU bet. It was going to rake in 3 grand if Florida State would have taken it. And
Nice couple tickets
uh
to the game. 40 to 1
yeah,
Washington preseason. So
40 to 1.
30 was close, 40 to 1.
okay. Interesting. We'll see. Where are you watching the game at, Burn? Are you
Yeah, I'm going
are
back to
you
Little
traveling?
Brothers. We had quite a bit of people over for this one,
Oh,
and it got a little too big, or it was too big for our likings for a national championship game. So we're gonna condense it. It's just gonna be strictly Michigan
ooh,
fans, a
ooh.
little more intimate, and
It's
hopefully be able to celebrate Maize and Blue victory on Monday night. Very excited about it though.
Change out of that shirt
Vegas.
until then. Keep that shirt on until
I'm gonna wear the same one I wore yesterday, so I'm good. Don't you worry.
You should bring a couple different Michigan ones. Maybe like a
I
Robert
did.
Trailer. Do you have a Robert Trailer?
No, I have the no, I don't have the jerseys. But I had a Michigan fleece, I had my Michigan versus everybody long sleeve, I had this one, and I had a polo. And I
Okay.
wore 3 out of the 4 yesterday and switched out hats. Yep.
do what you got to do, whatever it takes for that W, for that natty.
Put it.
I might just I wore the Michigan versus everybody on the overtime Blake Corum touchdown, so I might just start with that one
Good one to
see how
start with.
and see how it goes.
And then work your way to body paint.
I mean, first time since '97 that we can even discuss this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the NFL playoffs will be set, so we'll be able to do a full preview for you guys on the matchups there. Just there's going to be a spoiler alert here. I'll probably have Tampa going pretty far. Just if you guys were wondering about Tampa, Detroit, in the NFC title.
Hell yeah, it'll be a home game for us.
That's right. Well, regardless, it'd be a home game for
Um,
us. We saw that at Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to see a rematch of that. But yeah, so we'll be looking forward to that. I want to play a little bit of game here and I want to test your NBA knowledge. Okay. I'm going to give you a stat, points per game. You each are going to tell me who you think is leading the league in points per game. And then I'll tell you if you're right or not. We're going to start with you, Bijan, points per game. Who is winning or who is
Who's
leading?
scoring the most points per game? Joel Embiid?
Burn.
Luka Doncic.
Okay. Bijan was right on that one. He's averaging like 34 a game.
Am I close?
Rebounds per game. Burn.
I'd say you're probably close. Doncic's got to be close to 30 points per game, right? He was at 29.
Right.
Doncic, I think, was top 3, top 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a
I'll
bad
take that.
guess.
Rebounds per game.
Mm.
Burn.
Ooh.
Bam.
Adebayo.
Yeah.
Bijan.
Well, this is a tough one. Rebounds per game. Jokic is in the top 3, but I don't know if he's leading. I'll say Jokic.
It is Jokic. He's
Whoa, the Joker. Bag of milk.
yes, Joker. Assists per game. Bijan.
Trying to go 3 for 3. This is tough. Sharon the Rock. Assists per game.
This was a little bit of a shocker to me.
It's not Mark Price or John Stockton.
Burn,
Trae Young.
I see you clicking some stuff down there. You better not be looking this up, Burn.
I wish I could.
I'll go Trae Young. I
Bijan,
think it's
you
wrong.
said
Trae
Trae
Young.
Young. All right, Burn. It is actually Halliburton from the Indiana.
Oh, yes. Done.
Which, by the way, he's averaging 24 a game and he's shooting 50% from the field. Trae Young is shooting 43% from the field this season. A little bit of an ice cold there.
How many assists for Trae Young? Just curious. How off was it? Was he up 8 per game?
I don't know where Trae Young. I think he was top 10 when I looked for sure.
Halliburton. What a great year. And so confident.
Halliburton's having a great season right now.
I love to watch that guy play. Pacers super fun to watch.
We're gonna go steals per game,
Trey
and
Young is
Burn is
second.
gonna. Oh, second, nice.
Oh, not bad.
And get your finger off that trigger, Burn. I know you're going to the next stat right now.
I got nothing, man. When it comes to NBA stats, that is not me.
I was going to enter
Steals per
praise. I'm
game.
just going to, yeah, we're good. Just going to keep them up
Steals
here.
per game, Burn.
Brunson.
Okay.
I like that guess.
Vajan?
Steals per game. This is when it gets deep. What's the gentleman from Oklahoma City? Point guard.
God, you suck.
Is it?
He's looking.
You got it.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. Is it him?
Shea Gilgeous.
Shea.
Gilgeous.
SGA.
Oh,
Is it SGA?
SGA.
How
Yeah.
about 4-3 for 4? How about that? SGA, baby.
You can be the NBA insider, okay? You're
That's it.
ridiculous. I stick to pick'ems, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
I go for the real
that is-
stats.
I thought it was pretty interesting that SGA was leading in a category there.
I like some SGA. Oklahoma City, tough. Great ball game tonight they've got against Boston. Entertaining.
Turnovers per game.
To me. Oh, wait. It's not. Okay. It's not my personal stats.
Trey Young.
Trey Young, because Bronny is looking.
No, I just know that he's a point guard.
He's having a terrible season, actually. He's averaging 28 a game, but his percentages are down, and he's leading the league in turnovers. Not good for the Atlanta Hawks.
Not efficient.
News
Plus, minus, not
for
great.
the Orlando Magic. And then just to let you guys know, minutes per game was Fred VanVleet is leading the NBA minutes per game.
He actually plays the fourth quarter for the Pistons, and it hasn't helped. He plays extra games.
So
They
funny.
actually don't have turnovers on this on my page, so just want you to know that.
Ooh, looking at the wrong thing there.
I got it right.
And blocks per game was Wembanyama.
Wemby.
We'll see what happens this weekend in the NFL and in the world of sports, and we'll catch up with you guys next week. See you later.
Yeah, Happy New Year.